2 days ago, Mark Carney and Tim Hodgson announced that Canada would be releasing 23.6 million barrels of oil from oil stocks to help stabilize energy markets and supply around the world. Now, we know this is due to the conflict going on in Iran. Many Canadians, including myself, asked, what oil stocks are you talking about? The government doesn't have a stockpile. Private industry? Are we draining private industry stock for this? How much is the Canadian taxpayer going to have to pay? These were all questions people had, and Mark Carney couldn't answer them. Nobody could answer them. They just said, oh, we're providing this to the world. We're doing this because it's good. It makes us look good. Well, Mackenzie Gray blew the lid off the story. The 23.6 million barrels is coming from already planned production, not an emergency increase. It's going to be 140,000 barrels a day starting in April. So this is just a redirection of already scheduled oil production. We already export this oil, so it's just being redirected for another purpose. I'm saying to people that we need to do a better job of increasing our oil and gas exports. That is what makes Canada money. We need more of it. We should have an east-west pipeline. Why should Eastern Canada be relying on the Americans and Australia and world markets for oil and gas when we develop it and should have the ability to provide it to the whole country? That's what we should be doing. And this just goes to show, honestly, that this is all just political theater. It's not about actually providing stock to the world, because we don't have an oil reserve that we can just pull 23.6 million barrels out. We're doing 140,000 barrels a day. That's hardly going to put a dent in what's currently going on in the world markets on oil. It's a joke. It's literally just an announcement to make the Carney Liberal government look good, because they're all about rhetoric and they're never about the actual reality of the situation.
Canada is releasing more than 23 million barrels of oil to deal with the current global supply.
You sure about that?
I'm just asking this question on behalf of networks.
Right.
To deal with the current global supply challenges, right. What more do you think the government should be doing now?
Well, I'm not convinced they're releasing any additional oil. They have no oil to release.
The Minister of Natural Resources was referring to was the perspective, what the upcoming exports that we'll be doing, the 23.8 million. I actually don't know the exact time frame he was referring to. I could do the calculation. Someone else maybe might do it.
Does actually represent an increase in production?
It's our contribution, to repeat, which is what I just said, is to produce.
But is it sort of the existing amount of oil?
It's the amount. That is what we produce. It's not. We don't release it. We produce it. It goes out into the export markets.
They have no oil to release. We don't have a strategic oil stockpile in Canada. We are the only G7 country without one. So I think it's another illusion for Mark Carney to pretend that he's releasing stockpiles that he does not have. He does not have the ability to flip a switch and suddenly increase production out of the Canadian oil patch, especially after 10 years of the Liberals trying to keep that oil in the ground. Mr. Carney wrote a book where he said his values included keeping 50% of our oil in the ground. He maintains an industrial carbon tax that makes our production cost prohibitive. He's maintained all of the anti-development laws of Justin Trudeau, and he has not approved a single pipeline in a year or a single project through his major projects office. So we don't need more illusions and theater from Mr. Carney. What we need is for him to get out of the way by repealing anti-liberal laws and the industrial carbon tax, by immediately green-lighting pipelines to other markets so that we can massively increase our production. And we need to do, as I proposed a week ago, develop a strategic oil and mineral reserve so that we actually have stockpiles that we can release to the world at great profit to ourselves when and at savings to our consumers. So we as Conservatives are proposing to incentivize industry to build up hundreds of millions of barrels of oil over a time period that could be kept in reserve for moments like this, and that we would give privileged access to buy that oil to countries that will give us tariff-free access to their markets. This is another way for us to build leverage so that we can negotiate a win south of the border and with other partners around the world. Stronger at home gives us unbreakable leverage abroad.